Welcome, dear students, to our history class of Standard 10th. Today we will be doing heritage management. India's cultural heritage, and in particular its archaeological and built heritage, is unparalleled in the world. In fact, India has one of the largest geopolitical expanses and one of the greatest volume and diversity in heritage. Even beyond India, a number of countries across the world house some of the best specimens of our country's heritage in their museums, often narrating the glory of Indian culture along with the tales of colonial legacy. While others in Southeast Asia have extraordinary monuments standing as testimony to the spread of Indian culture. So this lesson will highlight on the impact and need of protecting, conserving, interpreting and showcasing India's built heritage. Let us learn about the sources of history, their conservation and preservation. Now, oral sources of history like folk literature, the lore, that is, traditional knowledge and beliefs of cultures having no written language. It is transmitted by word of mouth and consists of prose narratives, poems and songs, myths, dramas, rituals, proverbs, riddles, and the like. Until about 4000 BCE, all literature was oral. The earliest method of collecting oral history was through memory. With the loss of elders who were willing to preserve and pass along these histories, cultural memories began to vanish. With the advent of the written word, it became possible for cultures to preserve their history with the memory of a selected few. Spoken word was transcribed. Spoken word can now be recorded on audio or videotape or through newer digital methods. Early methods of recording sound included phonograph cylinders, gramophone records, and magnetic recordings. The basic preservation rule for oral histories is that the repository must make 3 copies each of the oral history. So one copy will be the original item, second copy will be the duplicating master, and the third copy will be the access copy for the public use. Now people and individuals involved with the creation and preservation of oral histories need to undergo some necessary training. Sociology and anthropology. Sociologists and anthropologists study human social interaction and cultural practices. For example, the Jewish Passover celebration includes a storytelling ritual known as the Seder. While eating a meal, the story of the exodus of Jews out of Egypt is told. Social psychology. Social psychology tries to understand group as well as individual behavior when reacting to the social environment. For example, when a person heavily identifies with a group, then their behavior will correspond to the norms and values of that group. Mythology and linguistics. There have been many accounts of the origin of language in the world's mythologies. For example, the Hebrew Bible attributes the origin of language with Adam being asked to name the creatures that God has created. The Tower of Babel passage from Genesis tells of God punishing humanity for arrogance and disobedience by means of the confusion of tongues. Vak is a Vedic goddess, is a personified form of speech. The Tikuna people of the upper Amazon tell that all the people were once a single tribe, speaking the same language until 2 hummingbird eggs were eaten. Subsequently, the tribe split into groups and dispersed far and wide. library science and information technology. Now it becomes easy to collect different library resources, collaborate and create library network, increase the range of services offered, and provide easy and speedy 24/7 access to information. History and historical research method. Historical research has limitations in applying proper and credit-worthy chronology to clarify the data. So, the aim of this study was to introduce an ethical and objective approach for the analysis of data obtained from oral history. Like this method was applied in a project related to the nature of nursing practice during the Iran-Iraq war. Writing of research reports and articles. Written sources of history refer to the sources of information available in writing. These include coins and copper plates with inscription on them, documents like official records, personal correspondence and diaries, historical books, old books, manuscripts, pictures and photographs, etc. Now these sources are the sole connection for one to better understand what indeed happened before. But it is amazing to see that after hundreds of years, such items remain as they are and enjoyed by everyone. So exactly how are historical documents preserved? See, these documents are indeed old. So in order to preserve the documents, the environmental factors need to be considered like light, pollution, humidity and heat. They are cleaned with a soft brush and always neatly kept in archival plastic bags. But the documents which use charcoal and pastel as ink are not kept in those bags to prevent smudging. Documents with colored photographs are kept in acid-free folders. Old documents are kept safe from pests and insects. And finally, historical documents are mostly kept on specially designed archival storage material. Preserving historical documents are very important as it holds very great value not only in terms of fortune but also significantly to the way the world is at present, and so one needs to have the following training. Knowledge of scripts like Brahmi, Modi, Persian and their development. Now India has a long history of writing. While India has been a literate culture for millennia, it has also greatly valued oral knowledge. The ancient Hindu scriptures, the Vedas, the oldest of which dated to around 1500 BCE, were memorized for at least 1,000 years. The oldest writing found in the subcontinent is the as yet undeciphered script of the Indus Valley Civilization. The script fell out of use by 1500 BCE. The next clearly attested script in India was the Brahmi script, which was found in the inscriptions of the Mauryan Emperor Ashoka. In fact, some Brahmi inscriptions have been found in Tamil Nadu and Sri Lanka dating to the 6th century BCE. Rightly known as the ancestor of modern South and Southeast Asian writing systems. Marathi in Modi script was the lifeblood of the vast Marathi Empire in India. For example, to study the huge collection of the Maratha manuscripts in Saraswati Mahal Library in Tanjavur, or the Peshwa Daftar, or Gwalior Museum, or the Maratha Museum, you need to first understand this old script of Marathi. Today, nobody understands it except a few thousand scholars. In the beginning of the 19th century, the Maratha power that promoted Modi script was vanquished. Colonial administration wanted standardization of languages for the ease of administration. In such an environment, it was decided to use a form of Devanagari for both Gujarati and Marathi. There was a time when Marathi teachers were supposed to teach both Modi and Nagari scripts. And finally, after over 130 years of using two scripts to write Marathi, independent India decided that it was too much of wasted effort and eliminated support for what is considered a dead script, that is, Modi. Persian scripts have evolved over the last 3000 years with three major historic stages of development. There are a couple of basic things you need to know about the Persian script. First, it is written from right to left. Secondly, Persian is a cursive script. This means that its letters tend to be attached. The third thing is that it does not have capital letters. The Persian scripts has three major stages of development: Old Persian, Middle Persian, and New Persian. Then, basic knowledge of social organizations and traditions, literature and culture, dynasties, administrative systems, etc. of past society. The social order is defined as a particular set or system of linked social structures, institution, relations, customs, values and practices. Every age has its reflection of existing society. Knowledge of social order and structure of ancient societies help in understanding the society and the culture of ancient people. Then knowledge of various schools and styles of painting and sculptural art and history of their development. Knowledge of types of papers, ink and colors. You know, the earliest inks from all civilizations are supposed to have been made with lamp black, a kind of soot. In a lighter note, it is said that history is full of ink, from Paleolithic cave paintings to parchment scrolls to printed books. Ink has recorded human history for over 100 millennia. In fact, all inks are means and methods of communication, the first and longest running form of information technology. Now the word paper is etymologically derived from papyrus, a thick paper-like material produced from papyrus plant. Beside papyrus, leather, parchment, wood and bark were also used. The Romans also used wax for text. The early Indians used leaves of palms. It is believed that artists invented colors using a combination of soil, animal fat and burnt charcoal as early as 40,000 years ago. In today's society, color is perhaps something we take for granted. With one single click, we have thousands of colors at our disposal. You know, each of the colors have evolved to form meaning in society and through design. Like say, blue is a color that has long been associated with royalty, art, military, business, and nature. This color was widely used in ancient Egypt for decoration, jewelry, so forth and so on with the other colors. Knowledge of properties of various stones and metals used for inscriptions. The study of inscriptions is called epigraphy. Inscriptions are the writings that are engraved on stones or are etched on metals in ancient times. They are significant and essential source of important information. For example, the Mandsaur stone inscription during the reign of Kumar Gupta and Vanduvarman of the Malwa dynasty indicates the use of seals for commercial purposes. Another example is the Rosetta Stone, which allowed historians to find out about the Egyptian scripts and gave valuable information about ancient kings and queens. Knowledge of the equipment and chemicals used in various processes of cleaning, conservation, and preservation. Knowledge of various approaches of managing exhibitions in museums, galleries, and information technology. Writing research reports and articles. Material sources of history include coins, places of worship, royal seals, ornaments, etc. Now, artifacts are often the most intriguing part of archaeological research. They are the key to deciphering the archaeological record and garnering information about how people lived. Artifacts help archaeologists to compare aspects of past culture as well as form a chronology of those cultures. Recovered artifacts are placed in bags before being sent to the laboratory for analysis. Even in dry caves, some recovered materials may require special treatment if they are to be preserved. Artifacts is then taken to the site laboratory to be cleaned and labeled. They are then sorted accordingly. Selected artifacts or their replicas are displayed in an exhibition. Fossil identification can be challenging proposition. Fossils of animals and plants are classified by observing structures and functions. Fossils provide evidence that many plants and animal species are extinct and other species have changed over time. These fossils are selected and displayed in an exhibition. Necessary training to help in conservation and preservation of material sources, as we have discussed earlier in case of oral and written sources. Basic knowledge of archaeological method and theory, history of ancient civilizations, knowledge of the regional sources of materials like stones, minerals, metals and clay used in the production of artifacts and their chemical properties. Knowledge of equipment and chemicals necessary for the cleaning of artifacts and other chemical processes. Knowledge of various schools and styles of arts and their development. Knowledge and skills of making replicas of artifacts and fossils. Knowledge of various approaches of managing exhibitions in museum galleries and information technology. Writing research reports and articles. So dear students, we have discussed so far about the sources of history, their conservation and preservation. We will continue with the remaining part of the lesson in the next video. Thank you.